In order to identify whether a bug is related to front end or back end, we have to follow a sequence of steps. The first step is to reproduce the issue and document the errors, and after that we have to inspect the browser console, uh, check whether the console is having any Java errors related to JavaScript, HTML code, or CSS. These kind of issues typically point to front end issues. Uh, Otherwise, we will have to look at HTTP codes like status codes like 500, 502, or 503, which typically points to backend issues. Then after that, we will have to check network requests. If we are able to send the requests, unable to send the request properly, then it is related to front end. Else, if we are able to send network requests properly, but the response contain errors or incorrect data, then it is a backend problem. The next step is to analyze the response data. Uh, we have to look at the data returned by the server in the network tab. If the data returned is correct but not displayed properly, then the issue is in the front end. If the data itself is incorrect or not as expected, it points to backend issue. Further, we have to examine the error messages displayed in the UI and the logs on the server. Front-end errors are often related to document object model, styling, or JavaScript functionality. Backend errors typically found in server logs, and they involve database errors, logic errors, or configuration issues. And after that, we have to check for recent changes. If the code if the changes in the front end code that coincide with the bug's appearance, then they point to front end issue. Similarly, uh, back end code that coincides with the bug appearance suggests a back end issue. So by following these steps, we can systematically determine whether the bug originates from the front end or back end. Uh, example uh, Example to identify whether a bug is from front end or back end. Let's consider a bug report stating that a user cannot see the profile information after logging in. Then we have to reproduce the issue, that is, we have to log in again and note down the error messages and everything and document it properly. And then we have to inspect the console, check for errors related to JavaScript, CSS, HTML code, or check for HTTP codes. If any of these things are there, then it is front end issue or back end issue. We can categorize that. Then after that, we have to check for network requests. We have to verify if the request to fetch the profile data is sent properly, and we have to check if the response uh, we receive is expected. If the response is correct, then the issue is from the front end. If you are able to send the data properly, network request properly, and unable to fetch the data, then it is from the back end. So after analyzing the response data, we have to check the server logs. Uh, so by performing all these things, we will be able to troubleshoot properly and arrive at desired resolution.